having studied bioinformatics, I myself thought of like Ayurveda is from, since thousands of years. In modern science, we have a repository and database of proteins, genes, etc. Bioinformatics tools we have in order to use those data in order to analyze those data. But why don't we have any computable database or repository in Ayurveda, which is a very, uh, uh, very common sense kind of question that I asked to myself. So I thought, then I started finding it like, is has anyone created such a repository computational tool or not? I couldn't find it myself. I asked in the Ayurveda Institute if they have ever came across to some such kind of innovation has been done. So they are just following the text and books. So the Ayurveda is very much limited to the textbooks and the classical texts and all that. But there is no uh, computational interface or computational framework where people can access that data, play around with that data, do some innovation, create some use case, apply Ayurveda, uh, taking the help of computational technology. So in Ayurveda, the very fundamental thing is five element, which we call as Pancha Mahabhuta: fire, water, ether, earth, wind. Now, uh, we would be considering these elements as in the literal meaning, but that is not the case. Fire is not like the exact fire, or the water or ether. It's not like the exact literal meaning. What I understand about these elements is it's more of the quality of these elements. Uh, these elements has certain binding forces and certain momentum. The nature manifest with the permutation and combination of these five elements, uh, which when manifest, it has certain qualities, certain binding force, and certain momentum within itself. That's how the life is. Um, so everything in this universe, in this existence, is made up of these five elements as per the Ayurvedic science, and that's how the uh, uh, attribute of certain life comes up, certain life force happens. So, hello everyone, namaste. My name is Rishi Agarwal. I am presently running two startups. The first one was Ayushla Private Limited, and presently I have registered a new startup called as RX Health Tech. So as you can also see, the terminologies of the company, Ayushla is basically derived from the two words. Ayush means life, La means in Hindi, bring back the life. So that was our objective or intention in creating that word. RX is basically the combination of two words. Ahar is food. RX is basically what we write in the prescription, the thing that we prescribe. Health tech, because we are into health and technology. So that's how this new startup has been named. So I completed my MTech from IIT Guwahati in the Department of Biosciences Bioengineering. My major thesis work was into computational biology, systems biology, and bioinformatics. This three subject was something which was very interesting and fascinating, and that's how I also chose my thesis work. Now, while doing my MTech, then I was somehow like saturated about the modern science, and something came into my mind like I've been studying the modern science, but have I ever tried study the Indian life science, the Indian medical science, which is Ayurveda? So this just popped up, and then I thought, okay, why not give it a try? I then bought a book, then I started studying. I couldn't understand much of it, so then I thought like I have to go to take the help of the stakeholders in Ayurveda, the Ayurveda professors, institutes. So I went to in Guwahati, Government Ayurveda College Guwahati. I went there. I asked them like, I really wanted to study Ayurveda. Can you please help me in giving this knowledge and helping me out with the query and the doubt? That's how I it initiated. So it was majorly in the MTech second year. I started going there till lunch. I used to do my MTech work. Post lunch, I used to take the bus and then go to the Ayurveda Institute, study there, um, understand the concepts of it, then compile those data in a data structure format. So that's how it started. And uh, definitely being from having studied bioinformatics, I myself thought of like Ayurveda is from, since thousands of years. In modern science, we have a repository and database of proteins, genes, etc. Bioinformatics tools we have in order to use those data in order to analyze those data. But why don't we have any computable database or repository in Ayurveda, which is a very uh, uh, very common sense kind of question that I asked to myself. So I thought, then I started finding it like, is has anyone created such a repository competition tool or not? I couldn't find it myself. I asked in the Ayurveda Institute if they have ever came across to some such kind of innovation has been done. So they are just following the text and books. So the Ayurveda is very much limited to the the textbooks and the classical text and all that. But there is no uh, computational interface or computational framework where people can access that data, play around with that data, do some innovation, create some use case, apply Ayurveda, uh, taking the help of computational technology. So that's how the journey started. Now uh, it also started with a venture which I introduced in the campus itself. uh, in campus we did not have a good food, so I had to create the Ayurveda driven food. So to create that, we took a approach in Ayurveda informatics that we have to have certain parameters based on which we can create the new formulation. So combinedly, the outcome of the Ayurveda informatics also parallelly started. We were doing the catering services by providing the Ayurveda-driven food. So uh, to take you through this presentation, I will try to first explain what is the very fundamental of Ayurveda and how the advancement that has happened. We have done that. Yeah. So yes. So in Ayurveda, the very fundamental thing is five element, which we call as Pancha Mahabhuta: fire, water, ether, earth, wind. Now, uh, we would be considering these elements as in the literal meaning, but that is not the case. Fire is not like the exact fire, or the water or ether. It's not like the exact literal meaning. What I understand about these elements is it's more of the quality of these elements. Uh, these elements has certain binding forces and certain momentum. So the nature manifest with the permutation and combination of these five elements, uh, which when manifest, it has certain qualities, certain binding force, and certain momentum within itself. That's how the life is. Um, so everything in this universe, in this existence, is made up of these five elements as per the Ayurvedic science. And that's how the uh, uh, attribute of certain life comes up, certain life force happens. So this is the basic, everything is made up of these five elements, the whole universe, the whole nature, which includes the human biological system as well as the external thing, nature, and within nature, whatever we have that we consume also. Everything is made of these five elements, right? Now, these five elements is not very directly, you cannot perceive it very directly. So to perceive it, it has to interact with the human biological system. So whatever you perceive only because there is an interaction that is happening with the external thing. Certain stimulation is happening and there is a response, and you perceive that response, and that's how you try to understand what you have interacted with. So that's how the parameter has been there or coded. When you decipher that these parameters, you actually are trying to understand this Panchamahabhuta. You have to decode or decipher it in order to understand. You cannot directly understand. What you directly understand is basically these five parameters in Dravya Guna, which is on the right hand side of the screen. Rasa, when you consume something, there is an interaction that happens over the tongue. So there is a response within the human biological system, and you perceive, okay, this is sweet, this is salty, this is sour. That's how you perceive the taste. Guna, for example, is something, for example, you are consuming rice, you are feeling heavy. When you consume the puff rice or the flaked, the poha wala rice, it's light on stomach. So that's how you perceive it. So that is a guna. It could be something could be oily, something could be dry. So laghu, mridu, ruksha, snigdha, all these are the variables that comes under this guna property. Vira is basically tasir of it. So if you are consuming something which is hot in potency, इसको और एक टर्म में बोलते हैं तासीर. इसकी तासीर गर्म है, इसकी तासीर ठंडी है. So you would have definitely, if you are belong to Indian family, you definitely would have heard from your grandparents, your parents, elderly people that, okay, don't consume this so much that it will generate heat, or don't consume this so much that it will you will catch cold, or it will create cold. So that potency property, that's how you perceive when it interacts with the human biological system. Vipak is the post-digestive effect. When the digestion has happened of whatever you have consumed, so there is an effect in the body. So that is the Vipak. Karma is a physiological action which gets initiated, or you can say what you consume, it's regulate certain physiological action, up regulation or down regulation. For example, if I consume more of something which is laxative or creates the bowel motion. So if I'm consuming more of it, then I might, suffer from the loose motion. If I consuming something which is constipative, if I consume more, so the physiological action which is getting regulated by it, it will constipate me more. If I'm consuming something, for example, like chili and oily thing, so it will create the acidity thing. So that's how the physiological actions is regulated by something that you consume externally. So now in this page, we have moved a little forward from the Panchamahabhuta, and how do we perceive this Panchamahabhuta when they interact with the human biological system, which is the Dravyaguna properties like Rasa, Guna, Virya, Vipak, Karma. So now, Ayurveda has this Panchamahabhuta as a fundamental basis element. This is the foundation of it. Nature is made up of these five elements. Human biological system is also made up of these five elements. Human biological system, when they interact with the nature, they perceive it, or something shows up in the human biological system. That's how we try to understand even the healthiness and also the unhealthiness or the some imbalances that goes in the human biological system. Okay, cool. So why there is any medical science or life science? So first we have to understand that why. Every human being, whoever you take, they want to lead a happy and healthy life. That would be like the common thing, right? So how we are focusing on Ayurveda. And here I'm basically majorly focusing on healthiness part, not the happiness part. So considering the healthiness, when something goes wrong in the human biological system, there is certain imbalances that is happening. Certain normal physiology or normal process has deviated from its normal process. So what we call like homeostasis state, but the process is now deviated from the homeostasis state. Now one deviation leads to another deviation, then another. So there is a chain reaction because human biological system is all networked, all completely like a network biology. So one deviation leads to another and another and all that. So there is a mapping of deviation that can be done. How the mapping can be done? You have to have something that you can perceive. So once the deviation is happening, we perceive as in Ayurveda through the dosha. You can do the Nadi Pariksha and you can try to understand what dosha imbalance has happened, Vata, Pitta or Kapha. Now, Vata, Pitta, Kapha can also be decoded in the format of Panchamahabhuta, and that's always you should have the back. You should always have in the back of your mind to decode, try to understand everything in the format of Panchamahabhuta itself. So the division has happened. We did the Nadi Pariksha. We understood the deviation that has happened with the Vata Pitta Kapha parameter. And now, once we understand, okay, there is a Vata aggravation, there is a more air element imbalance has happened. There is, aggravated air within this human biological system. So one parameter is dosha. Now, second is a sign and symptom or the premonitory symptom that we call as Purva Rupa and sign and symptom as a Rupa, more manifested format of the premonitory symptom. So sign and symptom will be, you have to see and correlate it with the dosha. So aggravation of Vata has happened. I'm just saying for an example. Now the person is showing the sign and symptom as in he is restless, he is suffering from insomnia, not feeling sleepy, and having a body ache most of the time because the movement of the air that is happening. So now we are correlating the sign and symptom with this deviation of dosha, the imbalances that has happened. So now we are considering these parameters because we are able to perceive it. We can sense it. So we have now considered this thing. Second step would definitely would be the deviation leads to another deviation. So this is a progression that has happened. So we need to map those progression. We have to take the patient history, ask what happened in what date, then what happened and all that. So we try to map it. Now I'll give you an example of Mutra here. Once. So here, as you can see, the human biological system, and this is Purva Rupa and Rupa mapping. Purva Rupa is pre-monitory symptom. Rupa is more manifested form of sign and symptom. So we need to do the mapping, the how the deviation has happened. So one, the person was having the whitish urine, and then he has the thickness in urine, then the burning micturition, then there is the interrupted flow of urine, then the non-production of urine. Could be like renal shutdown. So we have mapped this thing, the deviations that has happened, the progression of the deviation that is happening. This is the first step. To the objective is to bring the healthiness. So first we have to see what imbalances has caused in the human biological system and map it. So second step would be to map what we want to introduce. So you have mapped the deviation through this sign and symptom mapping. And you also are decoding this sign and symptom in the format of Panchamahabhuta imbalance. What you want, how you want to bring the balances by introducing some external agent. It could be dietary element, it could be herb, it could be drugs, it could be mineral or anything that you want, so that it's a complementary binding uh, or which complements in order to bring that balance. Like I give you an example, if a person is suffering from acidity, so basic conscience would be to consume the water and bring the pH, dilute the inner acid, dilute it and bring it to the balance so that we don't have the acidity. So, because the water is complementing the fire element that has been aggravated due to acidity in order to bring that balance. Same thing we are doing here, mapping the deviation, then complementing those herbs which will bring the balance of that Panchamahuta imbalance. So we have introduced Agni Mantha for the whitish urine, then Shalya, then Gokshura, then Vanyachiraka, and this is how we have mapped. So this, when this mapping is done, what we are doing is we are trying to discover a drug formulation also, or some food formulation. Here it's herb, so I'm talking about like the herb food, sorry, drug formulation. So yeah, so the objective is basically to bring the balance in the human biological system because some deviation has happened by introducing something that will complement in bringing the balance to the Panchamahuta imbalance that has happened in the human biological system. This will help us in the drug discovery, drug designing, recipe formulation, personalized nutrition, and product development. So this is the whole concept. Now I'll show you the Ayurveda Informatics platform, how that can be done through Ayurveda Informatics platform. Cool. As you can see over here, so this is the Ayurveda Informatics platforms. Yeah. So you can see this is the Ayurveda Informatics platform. Just uh, see on the landing page on the left hand side, we have all the parameters based on which we need to generate the external agent like drug element or dietary element or any herb. So those elements are like rasa, guna, karma, vira, vipak. Chemical constituent is from the modern science part, phytoconstituent, and the disease. We need to select the variables under these categories of rasa, guna, karma, virya, and it will this Ayurveda Informatics platform will generate a list of uh, ingredients, also drugs, in the rank wise order that we should focus on in order to prescribe or in order to create a formulation. It could be recipe formulation. You can do the food innovation, personalized nutrition, Ayurvedic supplements, your research and thesis work, or if you are in the blogging, you can do take that data and do blogging and all that. So, uh, so like I was talking about the Dravya Guna parameters, Guna. So a patient has come with certain sign and symptom. The I as a doctor has took all the his medical history and his physical data, his medical data, etc. I have taken that. I have done the health assessment. Now I know what imbalances has basically happened in the that patient. Now I have to uh, select those parameters under the Dravaguna section, which will complement in the imbalance in order to bring that imbalance into the healthy state or the balanced state. So I want to suggest something to the patient. Okay, consume something which is light on stomach. So lagu. Patient is having some urinary problem. So I will initiate urination. So mutrala is basically is from it's a Sanskrit term from Ayurveda, which initiates or helps in urination micturition. I want to help in the also a patient has some eyesight, you know, problem. I want to increase the eyesight power. So chakshushya is that term. So I want to initiate this physiological action that helps in improving the eyesight power. So I select this parameter called as chakshushya. Then rasa I want to introduce of something, say madhura, sweet in taste. And because say it's summer and the potency of the patient is already, say pitta, I want to introduce something of sita to complement to it. So now here, as you can see in the Dravagana section, I have selected these parameters, 5 parameters. I want to suggest something which is light on stomach, which is lagu, which will initiate the urination, mutrala, which will improve the eyesight power, chakshushya, which is sweet in taste, madhura, and which potency is cold. So I submit this. And as you can see over here, so this is the list that has been generated in the rank-wise order. So the first column is basically the plant name as in Sanskrit, given in the Ayurveda, like Shali, Potagala, Amalaki, Mudukaparni. Then second column is the botanical name, Oriza sativa. Third column is basic common English name, rice, elephant grass, umbilical myrobalan. Then the part used of that plant. We have also given the filter if the user is interested in consuming something which is only seed. So they can select seed, culinary herb, spice, fruit, legume, nut, additive, herb, oil, flour, vegetable, cereal, dairy, gourd, etc. So the user can select these culinary categories in order to filter his list. When the user click one particular ingredient, it gets more detailed information like Shali Oriza Sativa. Then the description is the botanical, microscopic, and macroscopic description. Information part use, culinary category, distribution, habitat, disease in which this is indicated, dosage, standard dosage, Ayurvedic formulation in which this is present, chemical constituent that it has. Dravya parameters, as you can see, Karma Rasa, Guna, Vira, Vipak. And the highlighted one is the parameter which I selected while entering uh, in the Ayurveda Informatics. I was giving this as input, Chakshushya, Mutrala, Madhura, Lagu, Sita. So all this has mapped, and that's how it has showed up in the result. Common names in Indian local languages, English, Sanskrit, Assamese, Hindi, Bengali, Gujarati. Scientific classification of it. And we have also linked the Wikipedia page if anyone wants to check more information of it, they can see that as well. So this is one way of doing it. So Shali, then Portagala is there. Second, Dravigan parameters. You can see the mapped one, right? So this is one way of selecting or getting the suggestion or recommendation using this Ayurveda Informatics platform, understanding what imbalances the patient has and knowing what parameters has to be selected. And this will then shortlist the huge data of the herb dietary element in the rank-wise order so that you can see, okay, these are the top uh, ingredients that can be used for consumption in the drug format, in the food format, etc. Now we'll see also with the disease section. So uh, let's select person is obese, so he's suffering from obesity and is also having cough. Also, say person is suffering from asthma. So these three conditions we have selected. So these are the three medical conditions that a patient is suffering from. And I want to know what Ayurveda suggests for these three conditions. So as you can see, just focus on the third column as it's common to understand. Camphor, barley, camphor is edible camphor, barley, garlic, eucalyptus, etc. So this, we click one ingredient to get more detailed information. Here you can also see the mapping that is done, Kasa, Medarogo, Swasa, which I selected. And the similar detailed information of it, the dosage of it, 125 to 375 milligram, Ayurvedic formulation in which this is present that can be consumed, right? Now, just showing also with how you can little play around in this Ayurveda Informatics platform. So once you have came here in one of the output, now you just want key. I want to see what are the ingredients for Atisara. So I can directly click here as well. So I click like Atisara diarrhea. All right. Atisara means diarrhea. So I want to know what are the ingredients for diarrhea. So I just click here. I get all the list of ingredients which is mentioned or indicated for Ayurveda, Babul, Medasaka, Virala, right? So this is another, you can, you are landing on something and there is something that popped up in your mind and you want to see that as well. So you can also play around. Let's do another example. Uh, we do like toothache. Okay. So cinnamon oil, pellitory, camphor, sesame oil, gingerly oil. So, right. So this is how you also get this ingredient or the formulation, which is for the dantashula, toothache, right? This. So you can play around with this. What I'm trying to say. Uh, so yeah. So I showed you in terms of disease thing. You can also select. This is from modern science basically. Um, you want something of Vedanolite. So what ingredient has this particular phytoconstituent called as Vedanolite? So you get ashwagandha, right? So Vidania somnifera. So you can see Vedanolites. So ashwagandha has this phytoconstituent. So the search can also be done based on the chemical constituent if you know of what phytoconstituent based ingredient that you are looking for. And the other section is the Ayurvedic formulation. So I want to know what are the ingredients in a particular Ayurvedic formulation. So I select say Trifla Churna. So Trifla Churna has these three ingredients: Amalaki, Bibitaki, Haritaki. So this is how you can also know what each Ayurvedic formulation has its constituent ingredients. Right now you can see in this here, similar Ayurvedic formulation is also mentioned over here. Trifaladi Tela, Chavanpras and all that. It's not like the alternative that we are suggesting, but we are suggesting something which is sharing a maximum number of uh, individual constituent which Trifla is made up of. So Amalaki, Bibitaki, Haritik is there. So if Trifla the Taylor is sharing maximum number of ingredients with the Trifala Churna. Similarly like Chavanpras, Tetrilua. This is also in the rank wise order. Whichever sharing the maximum ingredients, they will come on the top and then in the descending order. So yeah, so we have seen this. In the last section, advanced search, you can do a little more stringent process of filtering the answer. For example, you can just click here, tick this box so that all the values in this field are compulsory. So you can make it mandatory and compulsory that uh, this value or this parameter should be there, because previously we are not making it mandatory. So in the rank wise order, uh, say I selected like 5 parameters, so 5 would also come, they will come on the top, then the 4, all that. But this will by clicking over here you will make the mandatory, this has to be there, right? So yeah, and you can select multiple parameters in this same page. So this is about the Ayurveda informatics. We have also have the Ayurvedic drugs in this in platform. You can select say disease Agni Mandya. So there is a digestion problem. You want there is appetite problem. One second. Okay. So you select like Agni Mandya and what are the drugs for this Agni Mandya? So Abhyarishta, Aravinda Sava, Balarishta, Draksharishta, all this is showing up. And the category of this drug is also showing like Asava Arishta. So there are categories of drugs that is also showing. And the disease, in which disease this is indicated, right? So in this way, the drugs can also be search Ayurvedic driven. So this is all about like Ayurveda informatics. This is how we are moving towards. Now we are uh, focusing on creating a to help you, little certain higher level of, validating this formulation. through the modern science perspective. So we are planning on, give those parameters as well so that you can also validate. If you are interested, creating a new food formula, recipes or drug, etc. So yeah, so that's all about the Ayurveda informatics, the advancement that has been done, and the computational approach in Ayurveda, and the computable database that we have created. So thank you so much.